HELEN PAULINE GOODWIN KIMBLER.
Okay.
Is that what you want?
Okay. What year were you born in?
1921.
1921. What's the earliest thing you remember in your whole life?
Well, I remembered things when I was 4. I remember taking a picture with Evelyn and Madeline and my 2 cousins when I was 4 years old. I remember things like it.
Do you remember anything else?
Well, I remember Daddy was driving his T-model one time, and I wanted him to stop and pick me up and let me ride, but he wouldn't. He was afraid to stop it. You know, these T-models, you couldn't stop them very quick.
Oh, and you were outside the car? But
Mm-hmm. In a field, and I was small. I don't know how old I was, but I remember that. Daddy worked at Eastman, I think, at that time.
And was it you that hit Aunt Evelyn over the head with the bike?
No, she hit me.
Oh, she hit you?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember that story?
No.
What year, when did you meet Uncle Steve?
Oh, about 1938, I believe. He worked at Burlington, and I was working at Burlington.
Tell me about that song. What did you think of when you first saw him?
Well, I thought it was nice, and I liked him because he dressed up real fancy, you know, real neat. So I liked him for that. And he asked me to marry him the first date we had. We went to a carnival. And but he said later he was just kidding. But we got married, so he really wasn't kidding.
What do you remember about Baba and Granddaddy? I mean, what growing up? I mean, do you remember their mother and father?
Well, I knew my granddaddy Reed, but he died, as Evelyn told you, early in life. And my grandma Goodwin, I remember her. In fact, she come to my house one time, and we'd see her, you know, at her son's house pretty often, not too much, but.
What do you remember about growing up?
Well, lots of things. I guess I couldn't tell you all of them today.
Do you remember your first car? The first car you ever rode?
Do I?
Do you remember the first car you ever rode? And was it Granddaddy's T-Model?
No, I don't. But I've driven several when I was about 18. Is when I started driving.
Tell me about Tennessee Sweethearts.
Well, we were a group of 2, and then we were 3 when Edna started singing with us. And we sung on the Jamboree, Saturday night Jamboree at WOPI. And we went to churches to sing, which we enjoyed a lot. And that's just the name we give ourselves. And so we appeared on the Jamboree every Saturday night for I don't know how long.
That was a radio show.
Uh-huh. Kind of like Nashville now, I guess.
Bristol then, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, this is always hard to do. This video is going to be around long after we're gone, after everybody's gone, after your great-grandchildren are gone. What would you say to your descendants?
Well, the advice I give to young people is taken from Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart. Lean not unto thy own understanding, in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. That's pretty good advice, I think.
What would you tell them about you and Uncle Steve?
Well, that we had a happy life together for 45 years. Sometimes it was a struggle, financially, but we made it. I think we were blessed a lot.
How was that?
Well, we didn't have such a hard time like Evelyn and Luther, but he worked and things were pretty good then. The economy and all that was pretty good. So we made it.
If you could go back, first, when you were a little girl, you had friends other than your family. You ever see any of those people?
Yeah, I see some once in a while.
I'm not sure where I was going with that. I really knew where I was going when I started asking, and now it's gone. I'm losing it like you guys.
It's okay.
What do you remember about high school?
Well, I didn't go to high school, Jack, but
Well, your teenage years, not so much high school.
yeah. Well, I went to work pretty early. I should have been in school, but I went to work at 15. I should have finished school, but I didn't. But I sure have read a lot of books since then and got my own education myself.
Did you, did you have another boyfriend before Uncle Steve?
Oh, yeah, lots of them.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about your first one.
Well, I had several, and about 2 or 3 asked me to marry him, but I didn't marry him.
Why'd you marry Uncle Steve?
Well, I think he was the kind of guy that I could love all my life. And he was kind and good. And just a lot of good things about him.
He had the right combinations.
Yeah.
Do you have any regrets about not marrying any of the other guys?
No, I see now why I did. No, I don't regret it. Of course, I liked them, but I must not have loved them.
What was the best time in your life? Do you remember?
Well, I guess when I had my children, I enjoyed them.
Enjoyed having them around.
Yeah, it was good having them.
How about the cheering gallery in there? Can you think of anything? Now, because I know as soon as she starts walking in there, y'all are going to say, well, how about that time that what you just did?
That you murdered that
That you murdered us. Did Uncle Steve commit any crimes or anything while he was getting your wedding license or anything like that?
Well, we run all day. I know. He was in the service at that time, and so he had to do a lot of running around before you get everything, get the license and everything.
Pauline also looked after us too, after he got married. Pauline,
What?
you took care of us while Mom was
Oh, yeah.
working. Did that too.
Tell me about that. Tell me about when you were real young, when you were living at the house with Baba and Granddad.
Oh, well, I helped to take care of the other children like Evelyn did. And I guess that gave me experience as being a mother and wife. It was a good experience, although I needed to be in school. But it was good taking care of them because, I don't know, there's some closeness about a family when you live with them and do for them. There's just a kindred spirit there, I guess.
So,
It was happy. It was happy life.
Was I happy?
Mm-hmm.
What do you remember about Papa and Granddaddy? Just about the way they were when you were growing up. I know they both worked real hard.
Yeah. Well, we tried to help them financially in lots of ways, and I wish they could have had a better life because it was hard to keep a family up at that time. So I guess we all just pitched in and helped and done what we could to make the family go.
Did Granddaddy always work? I don't remember him doing anything except being the peddling.
Well, he worked at Valley Dale and Aaronheim Packing Company in Kingsport. He's always worked in meat. He was a good butcher, so he did a lot of that.
Tell me about Uncle Roy, any of those. I don't remember. Uncle Roy was a fiddle player, wasn't
Uh-huh. That's Mom's brother. Yeah, he played fiddle with the band, and he was pretty good.
he? Was there any other music in the family?
Well, Uncle John, Daddy's brother, played the guitar, and Stella, Geneva, my cousins, and there's quite a few of the music in both sides of the family.
They started to get a horse over
Yeah, pretty much.
there. One other comment.
Kid with a broom one time. She said, thank you, you just curl my hair.
Jack, they mistreated me. You can tell that. And Evelyn hit me in the head with the bucket and her with the broom. Evelyn, what did you do with me?
Well, she was so mean. When she was little, Mom was leading her down the road, and she wanted Mom to carry her, and she laid down in the road and kicked, and Mom had to drag her the rest of the way.
Little bit stubborn, Ed.
And
What else?
but talk about Evelyn, when I was she was first married, they lived in a little apartment a couple blocks from where we lived, and I'd go out there every night that I could slip off and go out there and eat supper. Evelyn. You
Wow.
remember it too, don't you?
No, I don't remember that.
Well, tell me more about growing up. Anybody? I knew it. I knew it. Today.
Did I tell you about those Christmas that Luther brought us all a present, and he played Santa Claus? Of course, I thought it was really Santa Claus. He said, "I've got one more gift in here, and who? The one that raises their hand first will get it." Of course, I went. He handed it to me. It was all wrapped up, and it was a real pigtail. They'd killed hogs, and he brought me that pigtail.
Wasn't that dirty?
Wasn't that mean? I don't remember that. Was that a gay gift or was that a gay?
On Prince Street.
It's a gag.
I remember one Christmas he gave us all a lunch bucket.
Well,
Now,
what
why
did
did
we
he do
have to
that?
put in?
Why did he give us?
No,
a
he
lunch
gave
bucket?
me. He gave
She
me.
filled them up.
Now I got a pencil box. You want me to tell this on you, Matt? See, we each got one thing. I got a pencil box. Matt got a lunch box. Hazel got a doll in a wagon because she was Luther's pet. He's the one who bought the stuff. I don't know what Pauline got, but I think
Pauline just got a doll with these legs, and if you got it wet, you couldn't stand it.
Well,
You
Alvin
wanted to
used
kill
to
that
baptize
dog.
Evelyn. Didn't he? Alvin baptized
so.
her
Matt,
dog.
when you went to
fell
school,
off piece.
when you went to school, and they asked what everybody got for Christmas, and the other kids named a lot of stuff, and you named over what we all got. You named everything that the rest of us got. That,
And they thought that she got it all.
yeah.
Oh,
Well, what do y'all remember about? See, I'm trying to get something on Baba's family, and nobody knows anything.
Well, it was.
Well, we didn't know much about her. Just her two brothers was the only ones that we knew.
Well, I knew her sister.
Yeah, Evan remembers her.
But,
Well, I remember her too, and
but she,
Mom's getting that closer. That space right there. I could put one more person in there.
she was just 32 when she passed away.
My little sister.
Uh-huh.
What was her name?
Cora,
Why'd she die?
childbirth, I think.
She had
And she, well, other things was
Something bad.
wrong.
something
with
was
the
wrong
two.
with her heart.
Bad heart.
She was a beautiful lady, I thought, didn't you? She was pretty.
Well, what would y'all tell somebody to watch this video 100 years from now?
100 years from now, it won't matter.
What are you doing watching the video?
Just tell me anything.
That'd be like watching the first.
That'd be the Twilight Zone.
They'll wish there was in the Twilight Zone if they see it.
What do y'all remember about the war? World War II?
Well, it's a big, big world, and it's a wonderful world. It's what you make of it.
No, I mean the war.
But
the war.
our families mean everything to us.
The war.
Our children and our grandchildren, our nephews and cousins and nieces and cousins. We just couldn't have made it without them.
I think I've told you. I've told you that I was 14 years old when they bombed Pearl Harbor, and I had the mumps, and I stayed home from school. And Mom and I were listening to President Roosevelt on, with the radio. And when he declared war, I remember Mom crying because she knew Alvin and Steve and all of them would have to go. And then when you're that age, and besides that, we were protected from a war. Teenagers like me, we didn't really realize what it was. But we did buy war bonds. We bought stamps. We had a Miss Victory, selected a Miss Victory, and one that, of course, her dad probably bought the stamps. The one that bought the most stamps, they were 10 cents a piece, and you put them in a book. But anyway, the only thing our kids is upset about is because we didn't get to have football that first year because you couldn't get equipment because everything was tied up. Everything was put toward the war effort. Everything. They rationed shoes, gas, coffee, sugar.
And the ladies would all get in those nylon lines to try to get hose to wear, and you couldn't hardly find them. And everything was rationed, gas, sugar.
You'd get right up to where they was, and they'd be all gone.
Yeah. But when the war was over, I remember we had been out to sing at a church, and we all celebrated, and we came down the State Street a singing. And it was just a wonderful time when the war was over.
Well, there's like a big celebration now on State Street.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was working, and every one of us there. It was in August, and school was out, and we all laid out. Then the next day, went swimming out toward Houston Lake, swimming in the creek out there.
I think I had the best of it all of you, because I was the oldest, and I got to hold all of your children when they were little and love them just like I did mine. I loved every one of them, and I still do. So I think that's
It's great. I'm glad you was good to mine.
Y'all like to laugh a lot.
Yeah.
That's helped you a lot.
laughter's good like a medicine.
A lot of times we laugh to keep them crying.
Yeah.
Did Baba and Granddaddy have a sense of humor?
Think so.
Because I got to tell you, I don't remember much of one on Fifth Street.
But now the most that I remember, when I
don't
think of
either.
Daddy, and you may remember it too, is him sitting with reading the Bible at night. And he loved John Kennedy. He thought he was the greatest president ever was. He liked him.
What year? He died in 66.
Roosevelt. Died
I remember seeing his funeral on TV, and it was sad.
I was in
And,
Washington when that happened. Not, where was it, Dave?
Was you at the White House?
I wasn't at the White House. Where Alexandria, Virginia. That's right.
Well, I remember what I
Babies.
was doing when Kennedy was killed. Had been ironing, and I heard this radio announcer tell about it, and I was just in shock, and I couldn't wait to tell Janet. Of course, she was in school, and they had it was coming over the radio or TV then. But it was really a sad time.
But you talk about the war. You know, Alvin was in that D-Day invasion.
Mhm.
Mildred was staying with us, and it seemed like I was sleeping in the room where she was. But the next morning when they started that invasion, all the whistles started blowing and things, you know, and you could tell that they'd started. And I remember her; she just started screaming as loud as she could scream. And that's where Alvin saw a lot of action over there.
He drove an ambulance and he picked up the wounded and the dead. And that's why he received the Bronze Star for his bravery.
Tell me about Mildred. I've never known much about Mildred.
No,
She was Alvin's first wife.
she was only 28 when she died.
27.
15 when they got married.
Oh, so they've been married 12 years.
Aunt Janice was only 8 years old, but they was married 2 or 3 years before she was born. But she was really big-hearted person. Give you anything she had. She wasn't very thrifty about, you know, saving and stuff like that. She loved her kids better than anything. If you went to her house and she fixed a meal you didn't eat or you didn't stay, it would kind of insult her. She was from a family of how many? 13.
Oh, a big family.
And we used to go to their house sometimes and eat. Her mother'd fix a big dinner on Sunday, and just anybody was welcome to come. It'd be, she had all them kids and extra people at the table.
Where's Uncle Luther's family from?
Benham's one.
They lived around Benham's, I think, honey, to begin with. Then they lived out west Bristol, what they used to call a fairground. Most of them. Well, he didn't really have many people. There's not. He's only got one cousin now that I know of that's living. If he had people, I didn't know him, and he didn't either.
Where'd Uncle Buddy's family come from?
Sullivan County, all their life.
They're all from here. How old were you when you met him?
Mm-hmm.
How old were you when you met him?
23.
No, not when you met him.
Oh, well, I was a teenager.
How'd you
Just-
meet-
I think between 17 and 18, something like
That's
that.
what you said, wasn't it? Met him.
How'd you meet him?
He followed us home one time. He had a car, and we'd be out walking, and he'd just keep going around the block. We finally,
Picking us up.
yeah, trying to. We used to pick up, wasn't it?
Well, what'd you do as teenagers in Bristol? Not much.
Go down to Bunnings and sit in the window and watch traffic go up and down State Street.
We
Eat
used
ham
to,
sandwiches and hot dogs.
what we do was
Get a hot
some,
dog for a
A
nickel.
nickel. Yeah.
our date was
Okay.
sometimes we'd, excuse me, sometimes we'd go to see a picture, and I mean, they were good pictures too. And then we'd get a nut Sunday and sit in the car and watch people go up and down State Street. That was our.
That's what they did. They'd park. You could park on State Street. And
It
watch
was
it.
fun to sit and watch.
And
The
people.
sidewalks were
we stayed in
packed.
Bunnings because it was glass.
You
all
couldn't
in the
get
front.
through.
On Saturday night. That's where the kids went. Stores stayed open, but during the war there were not many of the young men left. It was just you didn't have much of a choice because they was all gone to the war. I remember that.
You were just 14. Well, you were 18 by the time the war was
Yeah,
over.
I was.
So when the war was over, everybody came back.
Well, we didn't lose anybody, but there was a lot of them didn't come back. Other people.
Was Uncle Buddy in the war?
Well, he was Pearl Harbor and around Hawaii. You
Oh,
know,
was he?
Mhm.
He wasn't there when it was attacked.
he wasn't in the battle. I think he helped clean that place up. I'm not sure.
Well, Steve was not in battle, but he was a airplane mechanic, and he would have to. He got paid for flying with the crew to different parts where they'd have to go, maybe to another state for something. But he never went overseas. But he was airplane mechanic, and he had the rank of sergeant.
Wow, for somebody to be an airplane mechanic and not go overseas, boy, you know he was lucky.
Well, you see, he would have